I'd like to work on the front chain of the body today. So we'll begin down at our feet and work our way up. We'll work through the shins, through the quads, through the hip flexors and abdomen, and then through the pec and the biceps area. Welcome, thanks for joining. Let's see. So we'll begin today. Right on our bellies. And I'd actually like to begin just with some breathing. So take your Coregeous ball or take your rolled up blanket or towel, something that's a little firmer, or yoga mat, and bring it right into your belly. I just want to ease onto our bellies and feel the belly against the earth. And let your head relax. Maybe your ear comes to one side. Let your arms even come down by your sides so that your shoulders can fall forward. I want you to feel the whole front of the body just dropping to the floor. And as you arrive, just swish the hips side to side. Softening the body, giving a little gentle rock. If it's hard to do it with the legs straight, maybe even you bend the knees and windshield wiper the feet from side to side. Just let go of any efforting, any gravity. Feeling the weights just pull you down towards the earth. As we move through this class, there will be some work, and I will bring you to the edge of movement as well as probably to the edge of sensation. But as you find that edge and arrive in that edge, it's always gentle, always sustainable, always in service of the self. So if there are any times that you're fighting yourself, if you start to effort or guard with your musculature, use that as a messenger, use that as a note to back off, to assess, and then come back in. The most important thing is to meet yourself with care. So as we arrive here on our bellies, melting into the support of the floor, take about 3 more deep breaths. Letting go of anything you might be holding on to as you enter. Creating space in order to be filled with what you might need. Taking one more breath. And then bring your hands under the shoulders. Lift up towards hands and knees. And we'll shift back towards child's pose. But before you arrive there, I'm going to give you 2 options since we're working on opening the front body. You can take a standard size therapy ball, or even if you have 2 alpha balls, or the Coregeous ball. You can take the Coregeous ball to your belly and do child pose over it. Or if you have the blanket, or you can take your therapy balls right to the creases of the hips. Stick them right into that inguinal line so that you get a little gapping in the front of the hips. Keep the knees close together. And now come back towards child's pose. Hands can be either overhead or down by your sides. There's no right way here. So as we come into this action of rolling, or this experience of yin yoga, this internal inquiry, it's about listening to what the body's asking for. So start to inquire what feels right in my body. And I always give you a number of variations so that you can Pick what feels right. And know that everything is just a suggestion. So we'll start by compressing the whole front body here. There's a whole series of work in osteopathy that we often do in physical therapy as well, called positional release or counter strain, where we actually shorten what we're going to be lengthening so that we can decrease the innervation to that area, like taking the stretch out of a rubber band. And since our goal tonight is to lengthen the front body, first I want to begin by compressing it, by shortening it, by taking any stress or strain off the front body, by curling into this position of safety, of comfort, and of ease. And from this place, maybe you'll set an intention for tonight. Maybe it's something that you can let go of, or something you need to make space for. Or something you need to welcome in to make you feel more alive. Whatever it may be, take a moment now in this position to set that intention that will carry you through the class. Take 3 more breaths. And then rolling up, come to sitting on your knees. Take your therapy balls out of the front of the hips if they were there, or whatever prop you had in front of your hips. And you'll bring your therapy balls back into the tote. And like I said, we'll work up the whole front chain of the body. So with your therapy balls in the tote, we're going to do a little rolling to your shins. We'll break the shins into 2 parts, and we'll do this from hands and knees. If kneeling is uncomfortable, you can always do it with the rolling side on a chair so that you could stand. And we're just going to roll along the shin. First, the upper half of the shin. And if you find a point of sensation, you can let the knee come down, and you can even sit back onto that leg, increasing the pressure or the compression. And so we'll alternate techniques between rolling, working your way down the shin, and pausing at a point of sensation, increasing the weight bearing there, and shifting as much weight as comfortable into those trigger points along the shin, softening into it, maybe even coming down to your elbows, until those tender points start to dissolve, like ripples broadening in the water. That sensation will start to come a little broader and a little more diluted until you notice that it's just the pressure of the balls against the body. And find maybe 2 more places along the shin. And again, we're taking that shape still of a little bit of compression in the front body. So let the head go. The head may fall towards the shin. The upper back may round here, so you may have a little bit of a cat's breath. We're still turning into ourselves in that way of reflecting and listening and observing how we're feeling in our body. We must first contract in order to expand. Just like a spring, you load the spring, and the more you're able to load, the more you're able to expand out of. So take this time, one more spot on this shin. That last spot may even be the top of the ankle. If you're to lengthen the ankle, you may even bring it right across the front of the ankle here and sit onto that. If you've had a history of ankle sprains, that might be a spot that's tender or a nice spot for you. Staying there as long as you need, and then releasing and just sitting back on your heels for a second and feeling the difference between the left and right side. And then coming to the side you haven't done yet. Start just below the knee, starting in hands and knees, exploring the top half of the shin, stripping or rolling along the length of the shin first. And then when you find a point of sensation, coming and pausing, adding some sustained compression. Elbows may come down, head may come down. Sending all your awareness to that point where the ball and body meet. Maybe waiting for that big exhale. It's a sign of release. That's actually a sign of myofascial letting go. When we do myofascial work, we actually look for that change in breath. And then continue on, find the next spot. Sustaining compression again. Sometimes less is more. And then finding one more spot along the shin. Like I said, it may be right atop of the ankle. So you sit back onto the ankle. This may be a point of tenderness if you have had ankle sprains in the past. And I'm even rocking side to side a little bit so that I'm getting right at the borders of the malleoli, of those ankle bones, where the sheath that contains all of the toe extensor tendons passes through. And then remove your balls, return to kneeling. And now from kneeling, walk your hands back behind you. Keep the heels and toes as close together as possible, and then start to lean back. And as you lean back, you'll stretch the tops of the feet. The knees will rise. If it's too much to hold the knees up, you can always take that blanket that you used or a block or something under the knees to help keep you there in the stretch. Like I said, sometimes less is more. So how can you make this more sustainable? So less efforting, so that you can breathe into that edge or that sensation and soften into it. When we effort or struggle or fight, we reinforce that sympathetic reaction or the turning on of musculature. And the more I do this work, the more I realize it's the surrendering, the letting go, lessening that work that really creates the allowance for space. Take 3 more breaths. You may feel that as you hold it here, you can progress back a little further. So as that edge starts to recede, meet the new edge. And find stillness. And remind yourself, is this in service of my intention? Or am I creating more internal struggle? One more deep breath, letting go, and then releasing. Returning back now to your belly. Find your alpha ball if you have one. If you just have the standard size balls, I'm going to recommend just using the standard size balls together inside of the tote. But you could also use a single one too. We're going to come into the quad now. So working our way up a little bit more, come onto your belly. My favorite quad technique is actually the bending and straightening of the knee, what we call pin and stretch. This is a functional mobilization. So I'm going to let go completely of rolling in this variation tonight. If that feels right for you, go ahead. But I'm going to suggest just placing your tool under the knee and then starting to bend and straighten. Feeling for resistance in the range, just going to that point of resistance. And you'll find with repetition, it frees up. Then once you're able to go through the full range, I'm going to rotate my knee in and out. If you have the 2 balls in the tote, this is a little harder. But I'm just going to roll over, creating that windshield wiper action with the foot. And the knee may stay in place as the foot moves, or you actually may twist the whole thigh, going across the fibers of the quad. And then I'll move my ball up more towards the middle of my quad. I might just move around just a little bit to feel for a point of density or point of sensation. And when you find that next sensational point, go ahead and bend and straighten again. And feel free to move that ball at any time. Just exploring how those tissues glide under the ball. And notice if there's anywhere else in the body that you can soften a little bit more. For me, I just noticed that I could relax my other toes. And I could relax my head a little more. Maybe if you feel into your glutes, you might notice you can relax the buttocks. Or even relax the jaw. And then rotating if it felt right. Listening to the internal teacher. And like I said, sometimes just sustaining compression, deep pressure into the area is enough. And as you're ready, keep traversing up the thigh. Now you're in the upper third or so of the thigh. Breathing deeply. If the mind wanders, if you start to get into your thinking brain, just return to the breath. And you might notice that different portions of the thigh call for different actions. So it might feel good to rotate in one place, and it might feel good to bend and straighten in another. The sensations of the body are your guide. So I'm kind of like the guide that's providing you the map, providing you the route, but I'm not actually on the path with you. So as you begin to explore, you'll see the intricacies of the trail, of the journey. So allow yourself to be on your own journey. And now, staying with the same side, come right up into the pelvis. I want you to come just inside of the bowl of the pelvis. So you're inside that bony point, or the ASIS. And what we're going to do here is we're going to actually rotate the leg out so the foot turns outward and abduct, or bring the leg out a little bit. So it's kind of like a low V. And by doing that, it opens up the pelvis on this side so that I can then roll back over. And it's like that ball is diving in to the internal wall of the pelvis. And I'd say that probably if you were using something that wasn't circular but more linear, or like this, it would kind of go on an angle. I would keep the two balls together and you'd sort of roll. This would go in line with the kind of the crest of the pelvis. Same thing if you're using a jar or a can. And send your breath awareness right there, feeling each breath expand. And then evacuate that area. So there now is this internal massage with the breath as the ball bumps up along the inner wall of the pelvis. And just as I said, we contracted the body into the shortened position before we started to lengthen. We're doing the same thing here. We're bringing this iliacus, or the iliopsoas, but particularly the iliacus part on the inside of the pelvis, into the position of shortening to decrease the stretch of that rubber band. Taking a few more breaths until you feel that sinking action, completely letting go into your tool. And as you're ready, without rushing, whenever your body says that you're done, bring your leg back to meet the other and just feel the difference between the two sides. One leg probably feels longer. It might even feel wider or broader on the floor, like a deflated tire, a little flat. And as you're ready, once any remnant of sensation subsides, come to the other side. As you notice, I'm letting you choose the side right now. And just above the kneecap, place the ball at the bottom of the quadriceps group. And once you arrive there, soften everything in the body. Relax the head, the jaw, the glutes, the toes. The only thing moving is the knee by bending and straightening. Everything else is just surrendering and melting into the earth. And then once that bend and straightening frees up, maybe you rotate across those fibers. Coming back always to the breath. Softening, exhaling. And if you find that you're tensing as you do this work, then just sustained pressure is enough. And then traverse your way up, finding about 3 more points along the quad, moving at your own pace. So finding a sensational spot and pausing there, exploring with curiosity, with inquiry, the sensations that are arising. Notice if there are any emotions arising too. Notice how you're approaching yourself. Are you approaching yourself with kindness, meeting yourself right where you are? Or is there a sense of, oh, I want this to go away? And in that case, try to back off. Try to welcome what you're doing, welcome what you're feeling. The more you say, oh, I want this to go away, the more the body will actually hold. And the more you inquire, and the more interest and care you have, you'll find that the body begins to naturally soften. Feeling the breath move in and out of the body. How heavy can you let all of your limbs be? What's the least, the absolute least you can do right now? And this side might need something completely different than the other side. Using your tools of bending and straightening, rotating, or sustained compression as it feels right in your body. And find one more spot on the front of your thigh. Using your breath as the guide. And then taking the ball up right inside the ridge of the pelvis. So find your bony landmark in the front of the pelvis. It's called your ASIS. And then roll the ball just inside of the pelvis. So you're basically on the inside wall of the bowl. And then turn your toes out on that leg and bring the leg out to a low V. So it's almost like the inside arch of your foot is resting on the floor. It's okay if the knee bends a little bit. And bring all of your awareness to your breath, entering the body where the ball and your body meet. Noticing if there's anywhere you can relax just a little bit more. Your toes, your glutes, your jaw, your eyes. And if the mind wanders, bring it back to the sensation of the body on the earth. Feeling your body drop into the support beneath you. Feeling the heaviness, feeling the letting go, feeling the effect of gravity as your friend. One more full exhale, and then remove the ball. Staying on your belly, we're gonna go right into the next roll before we come into our yin posture for that area. We're gonna roll across the pec. So I'm gonna stay with my alpha ball. I'm gonna bring the alpha ball right into, let's all go to the right side to begin. I'm gonna bring it to my right pec. And I'm gonna just slide across the chest. I might kickstand my left arm so that I can give a little pull with it. I might even come to my fingertips, kind of like a cobra, modified cobra type action. So I can use the opposite arm to glide. And then just sweeping across the chest. If you have a smaller therapy ball, it might feel better if you put a block underneath the ball so that you create a little platform so that the head has enough space. And if this alpha ball is too intense, you can always come to the Courgeous ball. And then now, let's go right off of the pec. Keep going down the arm. So move past the shoulder now. So now you're on the biceps. Right at the top of the biceps in the front of the shoulder. You should get the front of the deltoid, like right where the pec, the deltoid, and the biceps all get a little gunky right in that crease of the shoulder. If you were to like squeeze that front part of the shoulder, get right into there with the ball. And then we'll start to traverse down. We'll make our way all the way down to our elbow. And as you do that, bring your left leg up to the left side and then turn your head to the left so that this arm can drag a little bit more easy, like you're just dragging it behind you. And pausing where it feels right. Maybe you sustain compression in that pec, in that deltoid, in that biceps. Just feeling that chain radiate out from the sternum or the chest bone, under the collarbone, out to the front of the shoulder, and even all the way down the arm. And then keep moving. And then as you get really into the biceps muscle belly, turn your palm up. I don't know if I said that already, but turning your palm up will really help you feel the biceps under the ball or under your tool. And again, using the left arm to propel you, letting the head stay heavy on the floor, turning to the left, just dragging the right arm behind. Find one more spot so that you come right into the attachment point of the biceps, right at the elbow. So you might actually traverse over the elbow just a little bit. Keeping the palm facing upward so you're internally rotated a bit in the shoulder. And you might find that area right by the elbow is a little tender. This is your deltoid and this is your biceps insertion point. So maybe it feels good to just sustain a little compression on that. And it's in turning your head away and kind of turning your hips away that you get a little bit more weight bearing in that side. Take 2 breaths here. And then just slide that ball out from under the arm, keeping the arm on the floor. Now bring your palm down. So palms facing down, out like a T, like a capital T behind you. Take your left hand underneath your left shoulder and push yourself up with your left hand so you start to rotate over the right arm. So let the head stay heavy. Press the right hand down into the floor for a minute so that you engage that arm just a little. And then you can relax into it. Now take your left leg. Since we just worked on this left thigh, push through the left heel so that you push the left knee away, elongating and opening that left front body. Your left hand can stay in front of you if that feels right, or you may decide to take the arm up and back, coming into a half bind. I like to let my fingertips rest on the floor if that's available, so that you ground the top hands. Feel the left foot push, left hand ground, and then breathe in through the whole front side of the right arm. Feel the breath come up the arm, across the body, and down the left arm, down the back, creating this circle of breath. Take 2 more rounds of breath. And then gently untwist, let the leg come down, let your top arm come out, and then let your right arm come towards your side, turning your head over to the right now. Coming directly into the other side. So just off of the collarbone to the left, coming into the pec subclavius. You'll get the pec minor and the pec major. First, working through the chest, staying off of the collarbone and off of the sternum. The right arm will now be your propeller as you sweep across the front of the chest on the left. If you find a tender spot in the upper ribs, along the pec minor is a accessory breathing muscle. It also pulls the shoulder forward. So if you start to feel some tightness as you get out towards the outside of the pec on an angular direction, you might be feeling into that pec minor, which lies deep. It's at about a 45-degree angle from ribs 3 to 5 to the front of the shoulder. It's responsible for that tipping. So on this side, I personally feel a little bit more tightness. So I'm just going to pause and breathe there, reminding myself that sometimes less is more. So listen to whatever your body is calling. And then coming back to sweeping, now sweeping out right towards the front of the shoulder. You should feel that bulky edge as if you were to hold or clamp that musculature in the front of the shoulder. Go right along that, and you'll get this cross section of where the pec, the deltoid, and the biceps tendon all converge and cross, and usually it's pretty bound down there. So there might be a tender spot through there, right in the crease or that curve of the front of the shoulder. And if there is, maybe just pause and notice how you can soften your body a little bit more. And then as that sensation subsides, moving out from the shoulder towards the top of the biceps. As you traverse off the shoulder, notice what it feels like to pronate the forearm. That means to turn the thumb down and flip the palm up. And as you do that, you'll feel a little bit more into the biceps. This starts to lengthen the biceps. Stripping in line with the muscle. Pausing and noticing at any points of sensation. If you find yourself efforting, just find stillness. And making your way all the way down the arm. You'll even cross the elbow to find the insertion point or the end of the biceps. Just below the elbow joint. I would recommend doing small rolls so that you're not going over, back and forth over the joint, but that you sort of land on one side or the other. But just realizing that the biceps crosses the elbow joint. That's how it allows for flexion at the elbow. So find that point at the very top of the forearm, a tender point, probably about the size of maybe a quarter, a nickel to a quarter, where it attaches. Coming back to the felt sense in the body. So if you find stillness, you'll be able to feel into if you're efforting, if you're tightening in other places, or if the body is still at rest and at ease. And as you're ready, remove the ball, turn the palm down, press the palm into the earth, and then begin to roll over that arm. Kickstanding the right foot behind the left knee. So right foot behind you, left arm out like a capital T, rolling onto your left ear. The right hand can stay in front of you as a kickstand, or you may decide, if it feels right, to take the right hand behind you into a half bind, resting at the low back. Come to that first edge. Don't push into discomfort. Don't push into struggle mode. Meet yourself exactly where you are. Meet yourself with curiosity and kindness. Feeling into whatever's arising in the body. Just note the right foot. Can you push into the right foot a little bit to reinforce the opening in the right front body that we just worked? And then come back to the breath, feeling the inhale come up the front of the left arm, across the chest, down the right arm, circling the breath from the floor and the left fingertips, up across the body, and then back out. Making this a full body asana, breathing through the full body. Expanding and opening on the inhale and surrendering to the earth on the exhale. Staying anchored to the breath. Holding for 3 more breaths. Maybe exhaling through the mouth. Noticing sensations, emotions, how you're approaching yourself. And then as you're ready, gently unwinding back to your belly. Just for a moment, head turns towards the left. Hands come by your sides. And let go completely. Feeling the entire front body. Hands, arms, chest, belly, hips and legs, all on the earth, like a weight. Noticing if there are any last places that you're holding. And then bring your hands under your shoulders and push up to sitting on your heels as we began. And we're going to come into our last posture. So for our last posture, we're going to come into a full saddle. So there are a lot of different options for this posture, so please choose one that works for you. We're going to start by kneeling, feet together today so that you're actually sitting on your heels. instead of having your feet wide and calves spread. And then you can use a bolster behind you if that feels good. You could use some blocks behind you if that feels good. There are a lot of variations. You can just come to your hands right here and meet yourself where you are. And I highly recommend taking a lot of time to come into this. I gave us a good amount of time to explore this. And you may come to your hands first without forcing or pushing. If you just dropped all the way down to the floor, I'd say come back and elongate the path to get there so that you can feel into the different phases. Where do I feel this now? And how do I feel this now? And then maybe from there, you can come down onto your elbows. I'm gonna move the bolster so you can see the elbows. And this is where bolster can come in. It can either go across the body so that you arch back over it, like that. Or it can come along the spine. This is where blocks could work too, that you lie back over it. And if all of those feel like you have a lot of movement, you can come down to the floor. But wherever you are, meet yourself right there. Send your breath into the sensation. If you feel that sensation start to build and you start to create some inner conflict with that sensation, back off a little bit and then come back in and find a new edge. That probably means you passed your initial limit. Your body's telling you you're in the danger zone. And then if you feel like you have some more movement, maybe the arms come up overhead and you interlace the hands overhead. Also, a foam roller could be a good option. If you don't have a bolster, you maybe just put a pillow on top of it. Stack up some cushions. And maybe if both legs is just a no-go, maybe you just bend one knee at a time so one leg is out in front. Sort of say if you have a bad knee, one leg could be straight out so that you can still recline comfortably. How can you make this sustainable for the next 2 minutes? Can you find stillness here? Letting the breath now fill the whole front body, opening all those areas we rolled, the tops of the feet, tops of the shins, tops of the thighs, inside the bowl of the pelvis, the abdomen, the chest, down through the biceps, the whole front body. When the mind wanders, come back to the breath. Sensation of the air cascading down, back out. Breath filling the front of the hips. Breath filling the front of the pelvis. Breath filling the abdomen. Filling the front of the chest, expanding the front of the heart. Maybe coming back to that heartfelt intention from the beginning of class. Asking yourself one last time, am I nurturing that intention in this posture? Taking 3 more breaths wherever you are. Mm. And then gently making your way up, using the abdominals, using the arms to help bring you back up. And making your way all the way onto your back. Arriving in your Shavasana. Arriving in a place of total ease, of absolute support. Finding the most comfortable position you could possibly imagine. Bringing the surface to meet you, maybe putting something under your knees. Supporting the head. Letting the legs turn outward. Palms turn up. Moving away from the body. Allowing for space all the way up the side body into the armpit and then to radiate down the arm. So there's no compression in the groin or the armpits. Whole body relaxed. Supported and at ease. Asking yourself one more time, how could I make myself 10% more comfortable? And then cultivating a deep sense of inner resource, a sense of well-being, of safety, security, peace, and ease. Feeling it as a felt sense in your body. Recognizing that this inner resource is always with us. This sense of well-being can always be met, no matter how we're pulled or twisted or poked, that we can always come back to this place of well-being at any time. Now allow my words to be yours as we circle awareness around the body, bringing awareness to the jaw, unhinging the jaw, mouth, teeth, gums, ceiling of the mouth, floor of the mouth, inner walls of the mouth, tongue, the whole jaw and mouth as sensation. Sensing the ears, left ear, right ear, both ears a sensation. Left nostril, right nostril, breath as sensation flowing in and out of both nostrils. Left eye, temple, eyebrow, cheekbone, eyeball inside of the socket, the whole left eye, right eye, eyebrow, temple, cheekbone, right eye within the eye socket, the whole right eye, forehead, scalp, back of the head, the whole outside of the head. Brain, inside of the skull, the whole inside of the head. The whole jaw, face, and head as sensation. Back of the neck, front of the neck, inside the throat, left shoulder, left upper arm, elbow, forearm, wrist, left hand and fingers, the whole left arm, right shoulder, right upper arm, elbow, forearm, wrist, right hand and fingers, the whole right arm, both arms as sensation, front of the torso, back of the torso, left side of the torso, right side of the torso, the surface of the torso, deep inside the torso, the whole torso radiating inwardly and outwardly as sensation, left hip, left thigh, knee, lower leg, ankle, left foot and toes, the whole left leg, right hip, right thigh, knee, lower leg, ankle, right foot and toes, the whole right leg, both legs as sensation, the whole front of the body, back of the body, left side of the body, right side of the body, surface of the body, inside of the body, the whole body, a field of vibrant, radiant sensation. Let go of thinking. Sensing the entire body as sensation. If it feels right, return to your inner resource, your felt sense of well-being. Now welcome sensations of breath entering in and out of the nostrils. Inhaling, belly swelling. Exhaling, belly emptying. Without changing, without analyzing, welcoming the breath into the body. And out of the body. Body breathing itself. Sensing all you may now be aware of. Feeling sensations rising within the field of awareness. Sensing what is present, and sensing the field of awareness in which all sensations are arising, unfolding, and passing away. Dropping back into that field of unchanging, spacious, timeless awareness. Sensing yourself as awareness. As awareness, where is your center? As awareness, where is your periphery? As awareness itself, begin to sense sensations of joy, of happiness, peace, even bliss begin to arise in the body as a felt sense. Sensations of joy arriving in the body like a gentle smile. Heart smiling, feeling that smile extend from the heart, out the arms, down into the hands. Heart smiling with joy, happiness, bliss, radiating down the torso, into the pelvis, filling the legs, out the bottoms of the feet. Smile of joy, radiating from the heart, up into the head and the face. Eyes smiling, cheeks smiling, lips smiling. Whole body smiling with sensations of joy and well-being. And sensing back out, becoming aware of everything now arising within your awareness. Sensations, feelings, emotions, thoughts, beliefs, joy, awareness itself, everything just as it is, yourself just as you are. Return to that inner resource of being and well-being. That felt sensation in the body that's always accessible to you. You can carry with you and return to when you need to feel safe and secure. Anytime, day or night, on or off the mat. And as you begin to awaken from that inner resource and that place of well-being, that place of being unchanging awareness, come back to your senses. Come back to the vitality of the breath, the sense of the body breathing itself. The sense of the body supported on the earth. Sounds in the room. Maybe fluttering the eyes open and closed a few times to reconnect the visual field. And as you're ready, maybe curling up in a ball, giving yourself a tight hug, or stretching the arms and legs long like you're awakening for the first time. In fact, awakening anew into this new moment. As you're ready, roll to your side, pausing, reconnecting to gravity, pushing down into the earth, feeling the earth beneath you, always there supporting you. Then rising up with your breath towards sitting, feeling the support within you. And end with gratitude, bringing your hands to a gesture of prayer, a gesture of thanks. Gratitude for the practice to reveal our essential nature. To help us remember for our bodies to experience this world and all things. And for those we get to share it with. Thank you. Namaste.